Greatly appreciated.
I have Councilman Castillo. Councilman Fazio.
Here.
Councilman Hoppenstedt.
Here.
And Supervisor DePew.
Present. And Councilman O'Flaherty is not here. All right, thank you, Sarah. Let's see, we are going to go right into the public hearing for local law number 2, the fire exemption. And let me see if I can find it here. This is the planning code. Sarah, did you have that resolution?
I do in the office, if you want me to go grab one.
Please. Let me, before you run there, let me just make sure that I do not have it. For some reason, I do not have it, so I would greatly appreciate it if you could read it for me. I wonder what she didn't.
What number is that one?
What's that?
The resolution, right?
Yeah, this is going to be for the public hearing, and this is for the public hearing for local law number 2, fire exemption. I don't know why I don't have it attached to that file. No, that's not it.
That's it?
No, that's a resolution for later on. That's a resolution, but that's for the county legislature. Thank you, sir. Okay, I would like to make a motion to open up the public hearing for local law number 2, the fire exemption. And that would be local law number 2 of 2025, entitled Extension of Partial Real Property Tax Exemption for Volunteer Firefighters and Volunteer Ambulance Service Workers. So there's a motion on the floor.
I will second that motion.
We have a motion on the floor with a second to open up public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So carried. So just let the records indicate 7:05 p.m. Okay. Gentlemen, this is, in a nutshell, I will read this in a moment, but I will explain to you what this is. So this resolution is to modify or change a previous law that we had, and I'll read that through, and what the law was for an exemption for volunteer firemen that live in our community and serve in our community. And they do receive a little bit of relief on their real estate, their main place that they live, their home. And basically what that is a percentage off since they volunteer. So this is a great retention tool, if you will, and a good opportunity to pay back the volunteers in our community that serve our community very many times while we're home in bed sleeping and enjoying the comfort of our family and what have you. They're answering the calls. So we did previously pass a law, and the local law said that we did give the exemptions for folks that live in our town and volunteer in our town. And since then, back, I believe it was November, December timeframe of 24, the New York State Legislature passed the law that they extended that to folks that live in our town and have the ability and the desire to serve in an adjacent town. When you hear that, you kind of say, well, why don't they serve in our town? A lot of these folks, what they do is they live in our town. They spend a large majority of their time in other towns, whether they work there, their family is there, and it gives them the opportunity to volunteer there, and it's reciprocal. We have some folks that live outside of town, and they serve in our towns. So it's kind of reciprocal in that respect. So it gives them also a little bit of relief here, and again, it kind of helps to retain good people. So is there any questions on this before I start reading this?
No, from me.
No questions? No questions? Okay, so I'm going to present this as a motion first before I go into public input. Let me do this. Actually, let me read through this. Town of Plattekill, local law number 2 of 2025, entitled Extension of Partial Real Property Tax Exemptions for Volunteer Firefighters and Volunteer Ambulance Service Workers. Be it enacted by the Town Board of the Town of Plattekill and the County of Ulster, State of New York, as follows. This local law amends the Town of Plattekill Local Law Number 1 of 2023 as follows. Section 1, the purpose. The state real property tax law was amended by Chapter 670 of the laws of 2022, by the addition of the new law 466-A, providing for a 10% partial real estate property tax exemption for the assessed value of the primary residence owned by a qualified enrolled member of an incorporated volunteer fire company, fire department, or incorporated volunteer ambulance service that services the town. The town enacted the same by local law 1 of 2023. The intent of this local law is to put into recently enacted real estate or real property tax law, section 466-1, which allows municipalities to extend the partial exemption to qualified volunteers who serve in a neighboring jurisdiction outside the town of Plattekill, New York, and thereby to sustain and increase volunteerism in those essential organizations. Section 2, under authority. This local law is adopted pursuant to Real Property Tax Law 466-1 and also is authorized by the Municipal Home Rule Law. The Statute of Local Government, Article 9 of New York State Constitution, and other applicable authority. Section 3, grant exemptions. The primary residential real property located in the town that is owned by and qualified enrolled member of an incorporated volunteer fire company, volunteer fire department, or incorporated volunteer ambulance service that provides services within the town or to a neighboring jurisdiction shall be exempt from taxation and assessment levied by the town in the extent of 10% of the assessed value of such properties, exclusive of special assessments, subject to the requirements set forth in the local law. Section 4, eligibility. Lifetime exemptions, spousal exemptions, application requirements, all of these matters shall remain as per local law number 2 of 2025. Section 5, no diminution of benefits. So no applicant who is a volunteer firefighter or volunteer ambulance worker who by reason of such status is receiving any benefit under the provisions of Article 4 of Real Property Tax Law on the effective date of this local law shall suffer any diminution of such benefits because of the provisions of this local law. Section 6, separability. If any provisions of this local law or application, therefore, to any person or circumstances be adjudged invalid by any court or contempt jurisdiction, such judgment shall be confined in its operation to the part of provisions or applications directly involved in the controversy in which such judgment shall have been rendered and shall not affect or impair the validity of the remainder of the local law or the application therefore or thereof to other persons or circumstances, and the Board of the Town of Plattekill hereby declares that it would have passed this local law or the remainder thereof had such invalid applications or invalid provisions been apparent. Section 7, effective date. This local law shall take effect immediately upon filing with the Secretary of State. Before I do any motions or the board do any motions, what I would like to do is, part of the public hearing, I would like to open it up for public input specifically on this local law at this time. So I'll recognize anybody who would like to have any questions. Yes, ma'am. Just state your name for the record.
Catherine Vine Catherine. Would the fire police be included in that group?
Fire police come under the jurisdiction of the fire department. They're not a separate entity, so yes.
Okay.
Yes, they would be.
Is there a period of time that they would have served? Suppose they reach a point where they have to retire because they're getting old or something. How does that
So, correct me if I'm wrong. It sounds almost like you're asking if you would become like a life member or a civil member of the organization, or something that you've done your career for, say, 35 years, and maybe you're not as active or inactive or what have you, I think there's provisions in the law that state that if you're an active member, in other words, you're a member. It doesn't matter what position you are. The guy who climbs the ladder and goes into the building is just as important as the guy who sweeps
Oh,
it.
no, I want to drive a fire truck.
Yeah, so I am sure that your local fire department will appreciate that. So yes, I believe this is the way that the local law is written and the way that the law is passed, that it has to be a member, and those are all members. So yes. Okay, all set?
I think it sounds like a great idea. I think these people deserve something.
100%, absolutely, absolutely. Anyone else?
I
Yes.
might have missed it, but.
Your name?
Yes, Annette Laskowski.
Okay, I thought that looked like you.
Do you have to be an official fireman for a certain amount of time?
The provisions of the law, in the beginning of the law, I believe it's 2 years, but you can check with the assessor when you do the forms and fill them out. This local law can be found online for the application to fill out, or you can get the application through the assessor's department. But I do think that, I believe it's a minimum of 2 years, but don't quote me on that. But I believe it's a very simple form to fill out. Did you fill out the form previous for the other? Okay.
Never thought about it.
No, it's a benefit, and why not have it? So currently, we do have that law for residents who serve within our communities. This is for residents who are here, that own homes here, but serve in adjacent communities. And I will tell you, I believe Cronomer Valley has this law. I believe Town of Shongum has this law, so Walk Hill would be included into that. I'm not sure if Gardner has it. I'd be surprised if they didn't have it. But those folks, we do have folks that are volunteers in our organizations that are from those communities, so it's kind of reciprocal. So it's a great benefit. It's a great opportunity. Anyone else? Okay, I'll make a motion at 7:15 to close the public input on this portion of the public hearing. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? So carried. So at this time, I would like to poll the board. Councilman Hoppestead, is there any questions, concerns, comments? No. Councilman Fazio? Councilman Castillo? Okay, so that being, I believe, fielded any questions or opportunities for the audience, as well as the board, I would like to put this into a form of a motion and adopt Town of Plattekill Local Law Number 2 of 2025, entitled Extension of Partial Real Estate Property Tax Exemptions for Volunteer Firefighters and Volunteer Ambulance Services Workers for the Town of Plattekill.
I'll second that.
So we have a motion on the floor with a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So carry. Thank you. I will entertain a motion to have the supervisor sign any pertinent paper, and this will be filed.
I'll make a
immediately.
motion that the supervisor signs the resolution.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor for the supervisor to sign.
Second.
We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So carry. Thank you. I think that's a very, very worthy cause right there. I think it's a very good opportunity for the folks to get back what they put in a little bit. Okay, so that is, we're going to do additions. We have, first for an addition, I'd like to add comments about a DMV bus, and I will flip that over to our gorgeous town clerk, and she can give you an update on our DMV bus that she's been working diligently on.
Okay. We had the county come down today to check our site for a DMV bus. We have now been given the okay, and supposedly they're going to start sometime in April. It will be on Thursdays. But I will, as soon as I get the official date, I'll advertise.
And that's every other Thursday, right?
Yes.
So I will tell you this, Sarah, thank you very much for working on that project, and that's been a long time coming. So Sarah did coordinate with Ulster County, and all the infrastructure work had been done. I believe electric, internet, and phone had to be done, and
Yes.
that's all done. That's all been approved, and I believe that tomorrow is kind of a dry run, so to speak.
Yep.
And after tomorrow, it will be on our Facebook page and our website when the actual time that they're going to be here. Our hopes are eventually to get it here, I think, every other Thursday. We're going to try to do that. I don't know how long that's going to take to, fully get to that point, But I think it's another great benefit for the town, and again, thank you very much for that.
Can I say one more thing? I just want to say thank you for allowing me to have it here, and also thank you to the highway.
Yes, thank you for that.
Yes.
Yep. Okay, thank you very much. The next thing I have is I have a letter to the PD and to the police department. And I am going to kind of jump into something here because I'm not going to go through, we have a lot of stuff to cover here tonight. So eventually what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a motion on all of our reports from our various departments. But what I'd like to do is I would like to jump in and I would like to read at least the police department, and I will talk a little bit later on our recreation department. But our Town of Plattekill Police Department, from Town of Plattekill Police Department, February 2025 monthly report. On that report, I just want to read that top call list, I guess, so to speak. So calls for service, there was 673 for the month. There was 199 traffic stops, 79 tickets issued, motor vehicle accidents 18, motor vehicle accidents with injuries 0, emergency medical calls 7, property checks 267, community-oriented policing projects 65. There was 1 felony arrest, 1 misdemeanor arrest, 1 felony arrest, violations to arrest 0, and a psychiatric arrest, that we had 1. That being said, I will tell you just recently that I did hear that there was a lot of vehicles that were being looked into. People were breaking into, opening up doors in various neighborhoods throughout Modena, Plattekill, and even Clintondale. So please lock your doors, lock your houses, and be very aware that what's going on outside your home and by your vehicles. So the reason why I read that is I wanted to, I can never say thank you enough to all the departments that work here, and a lot of people don't really know what goes on. And the reason why I read that report is because we did receive a letter. Actually, we did not. The chief received this letter, and I asked him for the opportunity to bring this to the town board and read it for the public because I think these things are kind of great. Nobody hears this. So this letter was received by Chief Oscar Lopez in Plattekill Police Department, 1124 Milton Turnpike, Clintondale, New York, 12515. And this letter was from a resident here, Aaron Santarelli, and I don't have to give you that address, but it was a local resident. So February 22nd, 2025, Dear Chief Lopez, I hope this letter finds you well. I am writing to share about an experience I had with one of your officers today. I had just left my house with my 3 young children to travel to my nephew's birthday party. I didn't get more than a mile away from the residence before I was run off the road by a reckless driver who pulled out in front of me. I swerved to avoid a collision, but still incurred significant damage to my vehicle. The other vehicle never stopped, and it happened so quickly that I was unable to get the license plate number or any identifying information other than noting that it was a Botani fuel work van. So it is, I pulled into Plattekill Town Hall to call 911. Within a few short minutes, 2 patrol cars responded. I was surprised that Officer Contreras recognized me from the one occasion where he subbed as an SRO officer in Plattekill Elementary School, where I work. Not only was Officer Contreras prompt and professional, but he was also incredibly patient, kind, and compassionate. He checked that my kids and I were all safe and made sure that we did not require any medical attention. He was very understanding as I attempted to get roadside assistance through my insurance provider. He made sure I had all the information I needed regarding the incident number and when I could expect the incident report. I was stressed and running on adrenaline, and he was very reassuring and made certain all of my questions were answered. He even waited for me to make sure that I had a tow truck lined up and that I was picked up to get safely back home. The experience that I had today shook me to the core, as the outcome could have been very different, and had I not avoided the collision. I am incredibly fortunate that my 3 children and I walked away without injuries, and I am very grateful that the Plattekill PD employs people like Officer Contreras. He truly does embody what it means to serve the community. I hope you will share with Officer Contreras that his kindness and professionalism made a terrible incident a little bit easier. So kudos to Officer Contreras and the PD. So I thought it was important to read that. Okay, is there any other additions from anybody else? No additions? Okay, at this time, at 7:20 p.m., I would like to make a motion to open up for public input.
I'll second that.
We have a motion on the floor to open up for public input at 7:20 p.m. with a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So carried. This is your time to shine, folks. Anybody have comments? Oh, yes, ma'am.
Do I have to say my name again?
Yes.
Annette Leskowski.
I thought that.
I have a question about the planning board appointment.
Yes.
Is this a new person or a
No,
reappointment?
no. It's somebody who is currently sitting on the board that was put in there mistakenly as, what is he? He's serving, oh my golly, what would you call it? He was serving as an acting vice chair. So I'm going to reappoint that as a vice chairman. So he was on the board as an acting vice chair, mistakenly.
So he's already on the board.
Yes, he's on the board.
He's going to go with his old term. You're not going to.
No,
it's not going
he's
to be any
continuing.
change.
He's continuing his term. The only thing that's going to change, he's going to go from an acting vice chair to the vice chairman. That's the only appointment. But respectfully so, he would like that to be read, and I agree. All right. Any other questions? Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
A couple months ago, I mentioned to you that the search bar on the website doesn't work.
Yes.
And I was just wondering if there was anything had been done about that.
Yes, we reached out to our IT guy, and as soon as he can get in, that's going to be taken care of.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, there's some other things that we're going to update with that website also and freshen it up and kind of hopefully make it better.
Okay, perfect.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you for pointing it out. I knew there was something else. Your name?
You didn't ask her name. I just wanted to make Annette Leskowski. I just wanted to make sure that Sarah was recognized for doing such a wonderful job on Saturday.
Oh, yes, I was going to get to that.
Thank you.
And since we're there, yes, she put together a great blood drive, and I think that you're probably going to do that again. I don't know
I'm
if it's
gonna
going
try,
to be
yeah.
this fall or what your
Definitely
scheduling is, but if you'd like, you can tell how many folks came out and volunteered.
We had 25 people come out, which was really awesome. We beat our goal. We had, 22, James, right?
Yes, that was
22,
your target.
and we had 25.
So did
thank
very
you for
well.
handing out signs.
Oh, yeah, I brought a list of all the places where I put those signs.
Thank you
So
for
I
doing
thought I'll
that.
give you a list.
Sweet.
before I go.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much for that. Yeah, that was a great job, Sarah. Thank you. Good? Yes, ma'am.
Mary Ann DePew. Just wanted to remind everyone that there is a Veterans Committee meeting third Thursday of each month, which is tomorrow, and we are working on getting the banners for our veterans and probably active military as well. And we'd love input from everyone.
And just for the record, the banners are the ones that are in the back, correct? So anybody want to stop and take a look at the banners on the way out?
We're also working on our parade, which is going to be the 24th, May 24th. Annette, anything else?
No, I don't, not that I know of.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else? Yes, sir.
Anthony Cavino. Again, I told you last meeting I was here that I had someone look over the site maps. As current, you can look at this, there is no permits for a building. According to the site maps, there's supposed to be a central building there before this business could be even opened or containers being back there. I did file a report with the code enforcement officer along with the other complaints that I had last meeting. I have not yet have heard anything or seen anything happen yet, which I'm not surprised.
So let me correct you before you go any further. I did stop you the other day when you came in and out of the building, and you told me that you didn't have time.
I did.
That you had an appointment.
Yes, I did.
And I watched you out the window for about a half hour, and I was hoping that you would come back.
Well, I could.
But I do have some information for you.
Well, we'll talk about that later. The other thing I was surprised by, I went over the meeting, and Willie here was saying how he went to someone's house who had a chicken coop and solved that chicken coop matter, and also somebody who had a sign that was running a business out of his house, and he solved that matter. So I didn't know, as a councilman, that you can go and just take care of those things. I thought code enforcement had to do that.
So did he allude to the fact that he went out and he took care of it?
He told me he went
Physically,
right there.
whatever, and what
He
have
went
you?
right there and he took care of it.
Because a patron came in and asked me to go.
But I was told that you can't wave a magic wand and fix the problem I had, but you had no problem going to that resident and dealing
Well,
with
that
that.
was-
You're not even a code enforcement officer. That's what I'm surprised at. I'm just
I
asking your
also
scope of
went,
your
I also
duties.
went up on the weekend to make sure that the containers were put into, no, wait a minute, you just said something, and I'm saying, you said that they were up on top, so I made sure that I went over there, and I looked, and they were moved to the back.
Still doesn't matter. They're not supposed to be back there.
Okay, so let's...
That part I'm not going to get into.
Let's
I know you're not gonna get into it,
Let's
because you know
not
I'm
get
right.
there. I'm going to answer
No,
you. So,
I mean, I'm
question. What is this?
You're on right.
I'm sorry?
What is this that you said here? What is this?
This is showing that there's no permits for any building being built yet. According to the site map, there's supposed to be an essential building there first.
Is that what the site map says?
Yes, it does.
So this is, you're showing me this from 3/19/25. So this is a
As of
FOIL
date,
request
that's
that you
right.
put in today?
Yep.
Okay. So this is a copy of your FOIL
Yes.
request. You're not giving it to me.
Yeah, you can have it if you like.
No, what I'm saying is you're not presenting it to me to get to the FOIL officer. This is a copy of something you've already submitted.
Yes.
Correct?
But if you like to have it,
Okay.
you can.
Okay. I'm sure that I'm going to see it, but I'll take it if you would like to give it to me.
So since Pandora's box has been open, and we're going to keep moving forward, I'm surprised that the business that's opened up on Coy Road is considered OTH storage for a business that's been open since 1990.
OTH meaning what? What is that?
That's on the tax map, which are
I believe it might be other storage.
right.
Those are codes that we
Right.
don't. I think the county uses those codes.
Right, so-
I believe if you look at the paperwork on that, I think that there was storage for porta potties.
Okay, well, I just find it kind of odd that what I'm paying for almost 3 acres, he's paying for 15. I find that very odd, since 1990. But again, like I said, Pandora's box has been open. He already said last meeting that they're going to cut all ties with EnviroClean because they don't
No,
think that's
I
a good
think
idea.
what he alluded to is that he has suggested looking at it, and I can assure you that after giving it a lot of thought, I don't think there's any conflict of interest
Well,
as
it
far
shouldn't
as
be.
what's going
if you've
on.
been doing business for years.
So I think that that's being done fairly.
But like I said, I'm kind of taken back because, he took care of 2 things just like that. And I've been dealing with this for 5 years, and I find it amazing that he got that done that quickly.
Okay. So that being said, I will tell you this. I did do a little bit of research onto this, and I read onto it, and I went back through the files, and what I came up with, I made copies, and I'm going to tell you what I came up with. I will tell you this before I even say this. I've been very patient with you. I've known you basically our whole lives. We've known each other. I've respected you the entire time, and I actually ask you to be respectful to myself as well as the board. We've been patient with you each time you come here, and to be honest with you, I don't agree with all the so-called facts that you come up with. That's your perception, and perception is 20/20, so I'm not going to say you're wrong in your mind, but I'm going to say some of the facts that you came up with, I don't think that they're the same facts that I believe in. So what I did is I did go back into the paperwork, and I do not remember entirely the whole process of what happened, but I do remember that there was another gentleman that was here, and there was a concern or a question, as well as you have had in the past, why it didn't go to the ZBA for a variance. So, and I did allude back to a notice of determination that was written January 30th of 2020. And I will tell you, on this paper, it does say January 30th, 2019, and there was a correction to 2020 because the date wasn't accurate. So I'm going to read this to you. And this was to Patricia Brooks and Bob Earl. And this is proposed portable container facility.
I have the same paper.
Okay, but I'm going to read it. Location, Route 4455, SBL 94.4-2-1 and 94.4-2-2.1. The zone is RR 1.5. So this letter of determination states, please take notice that upon review, the following determinations were made. Mr. Earl proposed a facility that deals with large portable containers. Currently, the Town of Plattekill Code does not define or list this type of facility in any of the municipal codes or zones. As per Section 110-11B, if a proposed use is not, and I'll repeat that, it's not specifically prohibited or listed in any zoning district, the town board shall render a formal determination as to the use of the specific zoning district. The only other reference to portable containers in the code is Section 110-15E, and which prohibits bulk containers, trailers, etc., to be used for the purpose of accessory structures in connection with non-agricultural uses. It appears that the use of this facility is not for the use of the bulk containers as accessory structures. It also should be noted that any sales of the containers to town residents shall specify that the use of bulk containers for accessory structures, and in parentheses, sheds, is not permitted in the town. It is my determination that the proposed use be sent to the town board for further determination as to the use in a specific zone. If there are any questions, please do not hesitate to contact this office. Sincerely, Scott Mandowski, Code Enforcement Officer. This is the vehicle that's sent to the town board. There was no provision in the ZBA to give any kind of variance because it was not listed in any one of our zones, any one of our codes. It didn't show anything. So by that 110-11B, that's in the letter of determination, it went to the town board. So the letter, or the code, I should say, 110-11B. So that reads, if a proposed use is not specifically prohibited under the law and is not listed in any category of uses or within any zoning districts on the schedule of district regulations, the town board shall render a formal determination as to those districts in which the use shall be permitted. The town board shall, pursuant to the municipal home rule law, supersede New York State Town Local Law 16 for this purpose. If the use is permitted in a given district, the planning board shall then process any application for such use received that the district use special use. The town board shall make its determination on the basis of similarities of the use to other specifically listed uses within various districts, taking into consideration the impact of the use on the community and the neighborhood in which it is proposed. This shall not permit the town board to reclassify uses that are already listed, nor shall the town board allow any use which is not listed in a particular district if the use is already permitted in another district. That confirms why it went to the town board. So the town board minutes from March 4th, 2020.
Which I also have. Go ahead.
Yep, understood. So the town board minutes from 2020, and it goes down under the additions, and under the additions, Patty Brooks is requesting the board to interpret that the proposed use of her client's portable storage container business be similar to self-storage mini warehouse facilities. The board received classification from Patty Brooks regarding the proposal. Supervisor Cross made a motion that the board interprets that proposed uses of is appropriate for the zone in accordance with Zone Code Section 110-11B. Councilman Matthews seconded. On the vote, all ayes. Now, I will tell you on the March 5th, the day after this, there was a letter to Cindy Hilbert, who is the planning board chairperson, and this is from Joseph G. Croce, and it is dated March 5th, 2020, re Bobby Earl proposal. After review, the January 30th, 2019 notice of determination from Scott Mandowski and meeting with Patty Brooks, the town board decided that the proposed use is appropriate for the zone in accordance with the zoning code, section 110-11B, as a special use. And that's what made it go to the town board. After the town board, it went back to the planning board, and the planning board did what they did as far as adopting a site plan eventually and signing off onto it. The provisions on the site plan, I think, were modified from the original use. I think that if I'm not mistaken, you can tell me if I'm wrong, and I'll still check it anyway, but I do believe that those containers are supposed to be empty on that site. They're not supposed to be even cleaned on that site. They're supposed to be taken off the site, utilized, cleaned, and then brought back empty. I will tell you one of my recommendations to Mr. Earl, I did get a chance to talk to him. One of my recommendations was to actually put the same keyed lock on every one of those containers, just to kind of be safe that if somebody were to go up there and mistakenly or jokingly or clowning around, got locked into one of those containers and they left them there, somebody wouldn't find them. So I did ask him to secure those units. I did look at the site plan, and I did see on the site plan that there's 3 specific areas that have been cleaned. One would be for the future building, which I don't believe that there is, and I agree that there is not a building permit for it. But I believe the containers were on, I'll call them number 1, the closest cleaned out spot to your property. And then there was 2 other spots.
Still see them from my house in the backyard.
And I did ask him to move those off that site to the rear.
Still can see them from my house in the backyard.
Okay. Regardless, have they been moved?
Well, it's easy for you to say because it's not your
Have
backyard.
they been moved?
Just one row. You can still see them from my house.
Okay, but they've been moved off that first pad, correct?
But you can still see containers.
Okay,
From my backyard.
understood. I also asked him to consider putting up some kind of a screening with pine trees or something that was of ample size so you wouldn't see that. The building, I have to go back and look at the site plan to see, and I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying, but I like to see that myself because I wasn't looking for that specifically, that something couldn't be done until the building was there. I don't know what the provisions are that allowed him to go ahead if the site plan says no. So I'm not going to say that he's right. I'm not going to say he's wrong. I'm going to say that you gave me information to follow up on there. My main goal was to answer the questions as to why it didn't go to zoning. And I kind of read this a couple times to understand it was because of no provisions. And again, looking back at that project and its location, yes, it's close to you. Yes, you can see it. Yes, it's intrusive. But it was an allowable use by determining that local home rule and that 110-11-B, it specifically says how that came about. So I did put this together for you and with a staple in it, and I know you have copies, but that kind of puts it together. I want to give you that. There's 3 pages there in its entirety, everything that I just read. I also have a copy of this, and what I would like to do also is I would like to ask our town clerk to put this and make this possible. Just a notation that I gave him 3 copies of that and give that as part of our record of the minutes, and just allude to the fact that it will be attached to the minutes, and that would be for your future information as well.
Understandable.
Okay, so that's where I stand right now.
Okay.
Your thing that you put in your foil, I'm sure you're going to wait to get a response on that foil, but I will tell you, I will look at that site map again tomorrow, and if you'd like to either call, stop in, feel free.
I got one more question though.
Yes.
It's ironic to me that he can have them containers there, but yet nobody in this town can have a steel container. Because I know a woman that lived up on Beedale Avenue, and she was told to remove it, because it's not allowed in this town. So that's what's kind of a conundrum here, because
It's in that paper.
I
how is
understand.
it? I'm asking him. I'm not talking
I understand
to you.
what you're saying fully. I fully understand what you say, and I respect what you say. It kind of seems almost hypocritical in a
Absolutely.
sense that that's an allowable use. But those containers specifically are stored there for the purpose of his business to sell in other communities. In that passage of that, under the local home rule that they did that provision, any single container that's either rented or sold within the community, it has to be known that it's not an allowable container, it's an accessory building. So keep in mind, agricultural-wise, they can have those containers.
Yes, absolutely.
So I will tell you this, that I do know, looking around town, there's containers, and I know that the building department identifies containers when you can physically see them, and they do their research to make sure that they come under agricultural. There is a lot of containers in town that are agricultural. There's containers in town, quite honestly, I don't know how certain ones made it through, but I do know that there's containers that have wooden roofs onto them, wooden siding onto them, and I think that was an initial provision in the law that they can have them if they made them into sheds.
I don't know about that.
Well, I'm not telling you 100%.
Right.
I'm telling you what I believe that I've heard in the past, because I do know that there's
No,
containers.
I can't take that for gospel
basically-
truth at this point.
Yep, understood.
I just, like I said, I just don't understand from day one, 5 years ago, how this all happened and where I am today. And let me
Understood.
finish.
Understood.
He put an apron in 5 years after. Now I walk out my backyard and I see nothing but containers. I had, like I said before, I had 2 real estate agents come there and say, yeah, your property just took a hit.
Understood.
Okay? And this guy's on a Rotary Club. He has business with the town. 5 of my signs get ripped down. From day one, the fix was in, and that's exactly what happened. You cannot tell me otherwise. I know what happened here.
I
It's
can't change-
unfortunate.
I
It's
can't change what you
unfortunate.
believe.
It's unfortunate, but again, I'm going to take legal counsel to have this look over, and then I will move forward after that.
Okay.
That's all I can
That
do.
being said, I believe that I feel confident that I've done everything that you've asked me to do up to this point. If there's anything else, let me know.
I appreciate that.
And I would like to say that the reason why I went out to the other one is because there's nobody in this town hall that speaks Spanish, and that's why I went there.
Okay, is there anybody else?
With the problem,
I'm sorry.
that doesn't deal with the problem that when he pulls those out of there, and there's all kinds of mud and rocks and crap that comes out on the road.
Are we
He
talking?
puts these containers
What are we,
on
we're
a
talking
tractor
about?
trailer,
We're talking about
and then he
specifically.
drives through the mud, and then it
Yeah.
winds up out on the road. I don't think that's
Understood.
fair for the people who are driving down the road, not
100%
expecting
understood. I will tell you that will be addressed through code enforcement office, and they already are watching the property very closely, as well as other properties in the town. I am totally sympathetic to what's going on. I am totally understanding. The board is understanding what's going on, and we can only do what we can do as prescribed by the law. So if there's issues like that, they'll be handled and taken care of.
Good.
Anyone else? Anyone else? You're quiet tonight. Okay. Okay, at this time, I'd like to make a motion to close public hearing at 7:45 p.m. Got a motion on the floor to close public input with a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So carried. Thank you. So that's 7:45. Okay, at this time, I am going to make a motion not to read all of the reports.
I will second that.
So we have a motion on the floor and not to read all reports, and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So carried. I would also like to make a motion that we accept all the reports, knowing that they will be on the back table. You folks can pick them up, or they will be in the town clerk's office if anybody would like to come in and grab a copy of them. So that's a motion.
Second.
And a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So carry. So once again, because of the way that we have this, we're going to have to redo this agenda sheet the way it's run because I can't see with my notes on here. We jump past the minutes. So I would like to make a motion not to read the minutes from the previous town board meeting.
Second.
Got a motion on the floor not to read the minutes of the previous town board meeting with a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So carry. And I would like to make a motion to accept the minutes of the previous town board meeting.
I will second
We
that.
have a motion with a second to accept the minutes of the previous town board meeting. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So carry. Now, let me just get my stuff here in order. I said earlier that I did want to jump back to recreation report, and I didn't want to do this under old business. Maybe what I can do, there's something in the recreation report that I would like to include, and I'm going to do it right now. Okay, if you guys have your recreation report in front of you, I would like to talk about that a little bit. So as you're looking for your reports, I'm just going to read this cover sheet here. So Recreation Department Report, March 2025, event dates. The Easter egg hunt is going to be Saturday, 4/19. There is no rain date. Rock and Horse Ranch Day. This is the spring ranch day. It's going to be Sunday, 4/27. And the tickets are, the sale date is going to be Wednesday, 4/9. And it's going to be in between the hours of 4 p.m. and 6:30 p.m. And there is no rain date for that. That generally goes off rain or shine. Rock and Horse Ranch Day Fall, and this is the fall event, is going to be 9/28, so it's going to be September 28th with no rain date. Trunk or Treat is going to be Saturday, 11/1, and there's no rain date for that. And the tree lighting in the park is going to be 12/7, no rain date for that. So Easter, items purchased, the eggs, stuffers, and so forth. And the thing goes on to speak about the things that they purchase and getting ready for the sale of Rock and Horse Ranch. Our summer camp, the summer camp program, that's what I really would like to talk about. So Ashley, our camp director, has actually refreshed and updated our applications and basically cleaned them up, and she did a good job at that. I appreciate that. Patty Williams, she's going to be our camp director in EMT. She needs to hire an assistant director this year, so I believe that Patty will be diligently looking for somebody, and I will be talking to her over the next day or two, and hopefully what we'll do is, if her needs are not met already, I haven't spoken to her, we'll advertise that on our website, and we'll advertise that on our Facebook page as well. The camp application completely updated. Please see attached for review and approval. Not on the town website yet. I just asked her not to put it on until after tonight's meeting. So the old prices and new prices, what I would like to talk about is she does have a recommendation here. It says the old prices on application for residents, new prices for non-residents. We never had a non-resident price before, thinking $100 increase from wherever residents' prices ends up. Please review and update. I inquired regarding obtaining information on how to use Plattekill Elementary School for camp use. See attached flyer, not on the town website yet again. So again, and this stuff, if we do come up with a conclusion tonight, we will post it on the website tomorrow. If you turn around to, I think it's the third page in, it shows you what our current rates are for summer camp, and basically what I'd like to do is talk about them. We break them down into 4 different options, and basically 3 main options. And when I say 3 main options, our first option is going to be for the first 3 weeks, and that's going to run from June 30th to July 18th. Currently, we're at $360 for a resident and $460 for a non-resident. The option 2 is going to be for the last 3 weeks. So that center week is actually going to overlap because our camp runs 5 straight weeks. So option 2 is going to read, let me see here, it is July 14th to August 1st, and she has the price down here, $360 for resident, $460 for non-resident. So that's what we currently have. Option 3, the full 5 weeks is going to run from June 30th, contiguous right on through, and to August 1st, and that's going to be a total of $600 for resident, $700 for non-resident. Remember what I just said earlier, that the recommendation was the $100 increase on those. What I would like to do is I would like to, for option 1, my recommendation, and I'll hear your guys' input afterwards, but option 1, I would like to raise that to $395 for residents and $495 for non-resident. Option 2, I would like to increase that $390 to $395 from $360 for residents, and again $495 from $460 for non-residents. Option 3, for the full 5-week period, that would be from $600 for residents to $640, and $700 to $740 for non-residents. So what that does is that does increase the justification for the increase. Quite honestly, I'd like to keep it as low as we possibly can to keep the program going, but I don't want to stifle the program as salaries have increased, prices of different things have increased as far as the products that we utilize, T-shirts, the food, everything that goes into summer camp, and the buses, everything. They do a lot for the summer camp folks, and I want the kids to have the greatest and best experience they can possibly have. So I think that slight increase, unfortunately, we're feeling it everywhere. I think that's justified. So I will ask the board, what's your opinions, your
Actually, the one
ideas?
line, isn't there line 4? It went from 100 to 125 also?
Line 4 I wanted to talk about separate, only because that's not necessarily what the...
That's not for the camper.
No, that's not for the campers. What that is for the CITs. And what the CITs are, counselors in training. And basically what we do is we allow the younger folks, and the younger folks age 14 and 15, to attend the camp, and they attend the camp as counselors in training. They come under the guidance of the camp director as well as the assistant camp director, and what they basically do is they're teaching them and having them learn what the laws are, the rules are, and basically what they're doing is they're learning to become camp counselors, and they're kind of how would I say, camp attendees / counselors in training, so they have a little bit more, I don't want to say authority, but for lack of better words, authority. And that would be an increase from $100, which we charge currently for them to come on, to $125. So basically what we're doing is we're bringing in those, folks. I don't know what the number is, counselors in training. I know there's a specific number that we have, and they limit it, but I don't know what that number is. But yes, that would be the only other increase that, I'd like to talk about. But Councilman Hoppestead, do you have any questions, concerns, comments?
No.
Councilman Fazio.
No, it's something that's got to be done. Prices go up, and you know what? You don't want to make a ton of money, but you also don't want to lose money.
Well, I will tell you this, that we never do this for a profit, and we're probably still far off the break-even point. But again, it's another benefit that the folks in the town and the kids get. It's a great experience. This year we have a new park, pickleball, gaga pit, lots of new stuff going on up there. And we will have a meeting tomorrow with the highway superintendent up at the park to look at the placement of our benches. And we are meeting Monday with the folks from the company who's going to install the 10 benches that we are in contract with. So the expansion on the park this year will be the benches. They should be in over the next couple of weeks, hopefully, weather permitting. And also we are going to put in a volleyball system, which should be located probably more than likely in the back of the pickleball court. So that's going to be our additions to the park for 2025. So there's a lot of things and opportunities for the kids, and I think we give them a pretty good bang for the buck, and the kids they have a great time up there. So I think for the slight increase, that we are doing, I can understand and appreciate the $100, but I think, again, I would like to make it affordable. And I will say that we are probably the cheapest camp around, and we do offer quite a lot. So, you good?
Yeah.
Councilman Castillo?
Well, I agree with all the prices, but I also wanted to piggyback on this. I got a call from Local 17. They want to go up there on Monday and take measurements, and they want to donate we buy the
labor,
material,
the labor.
and they want to do the labor. And this way it gives them classes for the Local 17, and it would cost us a lot less to have the walkways put in.
When is this going to happen?
He's coming next Monday.
Monday? What time?
I don't know yet. He was going to reach out to me on Friday.
Yeah, if you let me know, I'd appreciate that. I'd like to
Yes.
be there. All right, so at this time, what I would like to do is I would like to make a motion to raise option 1, option 2, and option 3 for residents from $360 to $395, non-residents from $460 to $495, and that would be again for option 2. And option 3 would be, I'd like to include in that motion, raising the rates for 2025 from $600 to $640, and that is for the period between June 30th, August 1st, and non-residents at $740.
I'll second it.
All right, so we have a motion on the floor to raise those rates with a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So carried. Option 4, the CIT, counselor in training, and this would be for the full 5 weeks, June 30th to August 1st. I'd like to make a motion to raise that fee from $100 to $125.
Second.
A motion on the floor to raise that fee from $100 to $125 for the full 5 weeks of the counselor in training with a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So carried. Thank you. What I would like you gentlemen to do also is after the meeting or at the end of the meeting, what I'd like you to do is just take a glimpse over these applications or these sheets that are attached. The old ones are here, the new ones are on the back. There is also some flyers on the back that I believe, I don't know if she's forwarded that to you already. Yeah, and these are in black and white, and I'm sure they're very colorful. But she would like to also put on the website and the Facebook page the Easter egg dash, she's calling it, for April 19th. Plattekill Summer Camp Program for 2025, and advertise for Rock and Horse Ranch Day. So, that being said, those flyers to me look like she did a pretty darn good job onto them, and you just let me know your desires after you take a quick look at them. Excuse me, and we can move forward with that. All right? I thank you very much. So at this point, we're going to get into old business. Old business, where we have the zoning code update resolution. So this is for, I don't want to say third phase, but this is the next step after our comprehensive plan. And this is for our zoning and Department of State Smart Growth Comprehensive Planning and Zoning Program Zoning Code Update. So this is what the board has already approved in the past, but we have to do it by resolution. So we document everything. And this is for the application to put in for the grant to receive the monies to continue doing the zoning portion of our comprehensive plan. So this is the Town of Plattekill Resolution number 34 of 2025, Department of State Smart Growth, Comprehensive Planning and Zoning Program, Zoning Code Update. I would like to make a motion to adopt the following resolution. Whereas the Town of Plattekill is applying for the Smart Growth Planning and Zoning Program administered by New York Department of State for a project entitled Plattekill Zoning Code Update to be located in the Town of Plattekill. Whereas the applicant municipality may obtain the approval/endorsement of the governing body of the municipality or municipalities in which the project will be located. Whereas the Department of State, pursuant to the Smart Growth Zoning Grant Regulation, requires an applicant to fund the 10% of the total project cost pursuant to the grant program. Whereas the town has secured up to 10%, $7,500 of the total project cost pursuant to the grant program in cash or in-kind services. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the governing board of the Town of Plattekill hereby does approve and endorse the application for a grant under the Smart Growth Planning and Zoning Program administered by the Department of State for a project known as the Plattekill Zoning Code Update and located within the community. So that is a motion for resolution number 34, and we have a second. All in favor? Opposed? So carried. All right. And you know what? I am going to entertain a motion just to have the supervisors sign this resolution. So first, we need a motion.
Oh, make a motion to have the
get a motion.
supervisor sign.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor for the supervisor to sign this resolution number 34 with a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So carried. Thank you. Next, we have zoning code upgrade resolution we just did, and I am going to make it known for the record, and this is under the planning board appointment, and I am going to appoint Ernie Vandermark as the vice chairman of our planning board. So that is an appointment, and I will further that by a motion to appoint him and look for a second.
Second.
Get a motion and a second on the floor to appoint Ernie Vandermark as vice chairman. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So carried. Okay, so we have a letter, and I want to make sure I have this here. I may not have this. So this is under new business. So the bookkeeper letter under bounce checks, and let me just see if I have this. Yes, I do. So this came to my office. This has come to my office on a weekly basis. What ends up happening is if we have anybody who has any types of bounce checks that has gone up to the landfill or no permits, try to dump or whatever, I usually get a record and try to keep abreast of what's going on. And we did receive bad checks throughout the year. We were able to capture, as well as the fees of quite a few of those. What ends up happening is if we have somebody with a bad check, there's a list that's generated every week, and that's taken to the transfer station, and these folks are politely asked not to come to the transfer station until they rectify their problem, and they can utilize Ulster County Resource Recovery Agency or some other venue. So this memo came from the bookkeeper. So this is to the town board from the bookkeeper. The town board needs to discuss putting a procedure in place for handling bounce checks from 2024. We currently have 4 personal checks from our transfer station that have bounced. Numerous attempts at trying to collect our funds back to the town have not been successful. Phone calls and 3 letters being sent to the addresses on the checks. The total amount is $123.50. Would the board authorize these checks to be written off for 2024? The town needs a procedure to mitigate future losses. So those provisions are being put in place currently as we speak, so we have the ability to capture. In the past, we didn't have on the checks, when they utilized checks, we didn't have dump permits on the checks, so we didn't have the provisions to come back without a whole lot of running around and time being spent to find out who these folks were, or are, I should say. So what has happened, these checks that we have that were bad, there was numerous phone calls made to those folks. There was numerous registered return receipt letters that were sent out, and a lot of these folks no longer exist in those residents. I will tell you that I believe 2 of them were non-residents that actually utilize our transfer station, so we're trying to tighten that down. So I will ask the board, what is your opinions or your comments or takes on this?
On these checks, just letting them go, you know what?
Well, on these specific 4 checks, I have to tell you this. It's a matter of principle, and I personally, as well as the bookkeeper, will always make the attempt to still collect that $123.50. But I think at this point, I think what they're looking for, or the bookkeeper is looking for, is how does the board stand on this? And basically, I think what it is, it's a house cleaning thing, so to speak. If we keep going after this $123.50, I have to tell you that.
Well, it's not worth it. If you're sending registered letters, envelopes, everything else, it's like, why bother? You're losing money.
Yes, so more time has been spent on this, just the time alone, than the money we're collecting. That being said, if we leave this open on the books, it's not going to close. That it's always going to have that gap of the $123.50. So, just a hypothetical, if we make a motion to I guess, write this $123.50 off does not mean that we are not going to still collect that money given the opportunity. It means that we're going to write this off, and the balance of the books is going to basically what we're looking for.
I just think that falls under one of the terms. I think it's called uncollectible funds, and it's just like, see, you got us, you're not getting us again now.
All right, Councilman Hoppenstedt.
I'm going to agree with Councilman Fazio. We definitely got to come up with some kind of a policy, though.
Yes, and again, that's what we're working on. That's what's in effect now. Councilman Castillo.
Okay. When people go up there and they're going to give a check, and they're not residents, we shouldn't accept the check.
Well, Willie,
So-
if they're not, excuse me, if they're not residents, they shouldn't be up at the dump.
That's-
So we
that's what I'm trying to-
do allow. Let me
Yes.
make sure you understand this. We do allow non-residents to come
Yes.
in under certain provisions. So, Sarah, if you will, the permits that are given to non-residents. The reason why the permits are given to non-residents is because we have people who do not live in this town but own real estate in this town, apartments, various buildings, various businesses. So it gives them the opportunity as taxpayers to utilize our transfer station.
Yes.
The problem is, I will tell you this, the problem is that in the past, we haven't had the provisions for the checks. I have seen checks come across my desk that were uncollectible, that did not have phone numbers onto them. In the memos, they did not have the dump permit numbers onto them. And I will tell you this, that we have already put that into effect through the town clerk's office. So those will be on those checks, and we do not want cash being handed over. So we utilize either checks or we utilize the coupon system. So everything is documented and memorialized. So that being said, not only have we done that here, but we've also tightened up the transfer station. And I have to say that Cheryl at the transfer station doesn't get enough kudos either. Things are rocky up there from time to time, but she's doing a heck of a good job up there. So.
We shouldn't accept started checks from banks because that
Well,
usually doesn't have anything.
at this time, we do not accept checks that do not have their phone numbers onto
Yeah, that's
them,
what I mean.
addresses onto them, their full names onto them, as well as in the memo, it has to have the permit numbers onto them also. We should be able to take that check and look in the file and see who we sold that permit to.
Right.
And we should make sure that they're current permits, up to date, and keep everything accurate.
So
Best we
if
can.
guys are doing construction and in the town, how does that go? Do they come to the town clerk or can they go up there and dump? That's
No, they can
another
go up
problem.
there. They can go up there, and we've kind of really limited that too. So what we've done is we've limited it to the point where it's so much per yard, and generally there's
Yeah,
only
that's
a
what we
yard
did,
that's being
worked on
brought
it,
up.
yes.
Yeah, there's only like a yard that's being brought up. A lot of times there's half a yard's being brought up. A lot of times the contractors come in there. They'll come in with either a pickup or they'll come in with large garbage cans, and they'll put the debris in there. There's a lot of stuff that we no longer take up there.
Right.
So I will tell you, I'll tell you after we decide this.
Yes.
What's the transfer station? There's some other options up there that the county is like offering for food waste and stuff like that, but I'll talk about that in a minute. This is what we have to look at. So currently, the $123.50.
So we should close this out, but still pursue anything in the future.
So is everybody, it kind of sounds like everybody's kind of on that same page.
I would say close it out, but as far as pursuing, I would limit that to if somebody walks in, gives you a check, thank you very much. As far as sending a letter or anything else,
Yeah.
I'd
So
say
I
end
will
it.
tell you that the names of these folks that gave us those checks, as well as copies of the checks, are with the transfer station attendant, and she definitely does her due diligence to chase the people away that do not have accurate coupons, the sticker, and the appropriate checks. So I would like to entertain a motion on that if somebody has a motion to forget
I
that.
would like to close out this account
And that's for the
for the
$123.50
$123.50
for 2024.
for 24.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor.
I will second that.
We have a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Thank you. So I will tell you what I was just talking about with the transfer station. There is actually a meeting, I believe, next week, and I will be attending. There's two opportunities to go to that, and I will open that up to any of the other town board members as well to go to that. And it is up in the Rosendale building up there. And what it's talking about is Ulster County is going to have a couple of different speakers up there. I think UCRA is going to bring the speakers in, and they're going to talk about recycling the paint, taking paint at the transfer station. But I think that there's also a possible opportunity, and I don't know how that's going to work, for food waste up there. So when I say food waste, we don't have a lot of restaurants, unfortunately, here in town that would actually bring a large number of food waste up there. I don't know what the critters would get into. I don't know how much of it would rot, smell, deteriorate the transfer station value up there. I really don't know. But I do think it's worthy to go to that meeting and get as much information as we can.
When is it going to be?
I will let you know tomorrow.
Okay.
It's next week.
All
It's,
right.
there's 2 days. One is, I believe, from 11 to 1 during the day. There's another one, gives folks the opportunity to go there 5 to, I think, 7, and that's at night. But I will send you all an email and let you know exactly when that is. Okay? Let me see, where are we? So, okay, we have the SRO agreement, so for 2025. So, this is pretty extensive again, and this is a draft, and this is to sign on for the SRO agreement with the Walkill Central School District, and it gives us the opportunity once again to provide service with the PD down in the Plattekill Elementary School, down in Plattekill on Route 32. We've been doing this for probably, I would say, 8 or 9 years, maybe 10 years. It's been quite a while, and very successful, and they're very appreciative, and it's pretty awesome opportunity for our folks. So this agreement made by and between Walkill Central School District, having an officer at 1500 Route 2. Oh, this is Route 208. So this is here in the after. Let me just read this. Special officers, first, second, SRO, direct, district 8, 17. I just want to make sure that this is the accurate. This is accurate.
They have this one down here in the Plattekill on page 4.
Page 4, so it does spell it out. That always throws me off when I read that first line, though. Yes. Okay, so this agreement made by and between Walkill Central School District having an office at 1500 Route 208, Walkill, New York, 12589 here and ever after, referred to as district, and the town of Plattekill, a municipal corporation organized and existing under the laws of the state of New York, having an office at 1915 Route 4455, Modena, New York, 12548 here and ever after the town. Witness, whereas the district desires to obtain certain specific professional services from the town as more fully set forth hereunder, and whereas the town is willing to provide such professional services on the terms and conditions set forth herein, and for the compensation stated hereunder. Now, therefore, in consideration of the terms and conditions herein contained, the parties agree as follows. First, the town shall furnish 1 special patrol officers here and ever after SPO to the district to perform such services as fully described in Schedule A, attached hereto and made part thereof. Second, for the services rendered pursuant to paragraph first, the district shall pay the town $55 per hour per SPO for each hour the SPO, S, plural, are carrying out his or her duties as set forth in Schedule A. The district shall make payment for the services rendered pursuant to this agreement by 13th, 30th calendar day of the month, following the month in which the services are rendered and invoiced. Prior to the making of any payment hereunder, the district may, at its option, and upon reasonable notice to the town, audit such books and records of the town as are reasonably pertinent to this agreement and substantive substantiate the basics for payment. The district shall, in addition, have the right to audit such books and record subsequent to payment. If such audit is commenced within 7 years following termination of the agreement, in the event that the district fails to make a payment within 30 days of the date, the town will, prior to terminating the agreement, providing the district with notice of default and an opportunity to cure the default within 15 days thereafter. Third, this agreement shall commence on September 1st, 2025 and terminate on June 30th, 2026, unless otherwise extended by a written instrument signed by the parties hereto. Fourth, the SBO shall be selected by the town of Plattekill. Fifth, the SBO shall at all times be employees of the town and shall follow all policies and procedures of the police department. Sixth, the SBO shall be assigned pursuant to schedule that is determined at the discretion of the district. In the event that the district requires an SBO beyond regular school hours for the purpose of providing SBO service, the district shall be responsible for the payment of such SBO overtime, since officers are scheduled 30 days in advance. When school closes for unforeseen problems such as weather-related pandemic or similar such events, and where the school is closed for an extended period of time, this excludes weather-related closings, the school district will compensate the town for officers' time and the shifts he or she is scheduled. Seventh, the SBO shall provide a police presence in the district in order to promote the atmosphere of enhanced school safety for faculty, staff, students, and parents in the district. This will include a collaborative working relationship with the district security personnel. Non-criminal disciplinary matters shall remain the province of the district, and the SBO shall not be involved in such matters except to the extent that the SBO's presence is needed to maintain a safe school environment. Eighth, either party, upon 60 days' notice to the other, may terminate this agreement in whole or in part when a party deems it is to be in the best interest. In such event, the town shall be compensated and the district shall be liable only for payments for services already rendered under this agreement prior to the effective date of the termination. Ninth, except for otherwise contemplated herein, neither party shall assign or subcontract any of its rights, obligations, and or responsibilities under this agreement, and any purported delegation of duties, assignments, or rights for subcontracting of responsibilities under this agreement is void and shall be deemed a direct breach of this agreement. 10th, the district agrees to protect, defend, and indemnify and hold harmless the town and its officers, employees, and agents free from and against any and all losses, penalties, damages, settlements, costs, charges, professional fees, or other expenses or liabilities of every kind of character arising out of the relating to any and all claims, liens, demands, obligations, actions, lawsuits, proceedings, clauses of actions or judgments of every kind and character whatsoever arising from and or in connection with the district's acts, omissions, and or negligent performances of its obligations under this agreement and or performances hereof. The district further agrees to indemnify the town for any damages to town property which arises out of the district's negligence in connection with this agreement. The town shall indemnify, defend, and hold harmless the district and its officers, employees, and agents from and against any and all claims, suits, actions, causes or actions, damage, judgments, liabilities, fines, penalties, and expenses, including reasonable attorney fees and litigation costs arising out of the related or related to the service acts or omissions of the SBOs. The town will be responsible to provide the district proof of professional liability, law enforcement liability, and automobile insurance for SBO's services provided under this agreement. The district will be named as an additional insured on all policies except auto. The district shall add ISO endorsements CG 2404 to its general liability policy for the benefits of the town. The town shall be named as an additional insurer under the district's liability insurance policy. The town shall maintain workers' compensation insurance in the amount required by law and provide the district documentation of such coverage upon the execution of this agreement. 11th, in connection with the performance of this agreement, the town will comply with all applicable laws, regulations, and orders, including but not limited to equal employment opportunity laws and regulations, the Fair Labor Standards Act, as well as the Education and Labor Law of the state of New York. The town will abide by federal and state confidentiality statutes, including but not limited to the Family Educational Rights and Private Act, FERPA, to the same extent that it must be compiled by the district, and the obligation to preserve the confidentiality of students' information shall survive the termination of this agreement, except where required to be disclosed by law. The parties hereto expressly agree that they shall be solely responsible for supervising their respective employees, that they shall respectively comply with all rules, regulations, orders, standards, and interpretations promulgated pursuant to the Occupational Health and Safety Act of 1970 and the Public Employees Safety and Health Act, here and ever after referred to as PESH, including but not limited to training provisions of personnel protective equipment, adherence to all appropriate lockout, tagout procedures, and providing all notices, materials, safety data sheets, labels, etc. required by the Right to Know standard. 12th, all policies of any nature referred to in this agreement shall be in writing and sent by registered or certified mail, postage prepaid to the respective addresses set forth below, to such other addresses as respective parties hereto may designate in writing to the district, Wallkill Central School District, 1500 Route 208, Post Office Box 310, Wallkill, New York 12589, and to the town of Plattekill, 1915, 4455, Post Office Box 45, Modena, New York 12548. 13th, this agreement and its attachments constitute the entire agreement between the parties with respect to the subject matter hereof and shall supersede all provisions, negotiations, commitments in writing. It shall not be released, discharged, changed, or modified except by an instrument in writing signed by a duly authorized representative of each of the parties. 14th, this agreement will be construed in accordance with the laws of the state of New York. All legal actions and or proceedings arising out of this agreement will be venued in Ulster County, New York. 15th, the district is required to provide a certificate of insurance as set forth in 9th paragraph before this agreement will be finalized and or executed by the town. 16th, unless specifically provided by law, electronic signatures may be used in lieu of a signature affixed by hand. The use of said electronic signatures shall have the same force and effect of law and shall be deemed binding. Moreover, this contract shall not be deemed effective until fully executed by the district and the town. And then it says, in witness whereof, the parties have executed this agreement in Wallkill, New York, and on this date, here and ever after above set forth. So that is the contract. Schedule A is attached. I'm not going to read Schedule A. So I will make a motion to move forward and go into agreement with the Wallkill Central School District to provide the SRO officer for the prescribed time period for 2025.
Second, team, can we have a little discussion on this?
Yes, we sure
Have
can.
we ever checked to see what other police departments get
Yes,
when
we
they're doing the same job at schools?
Yes, we have. And I will tell you this, that we did raise that price, I believe it was last year. Am I correct? You recall that or not?
Asking me?
Yeah, so I won't ask you.
No, I
So I believe it was last year or the year before, we increased the price, pretty good. I will say that, this is pretty much straightforward. I have no problem if you don't want to pass the thing, you want to hold off. I think they're looking for.
I would rather hold off, you know why? Because when I think about it, it's $55 an hour, right?
Yes.
So that's basically, probably not quite, but you have an officer there almost full time. When you add everything in, it's probably pretty close to breaking even.
Okay. So let me get the flair of the rest of the board. And what do you think? Mr. Oppenstead?
I think $55 an hour is pretty cheap for an SRO.
So what's your suggestion?
Well, I mean, we're definitely looking to see what the other towns are getting through the Walkill School District at least.
Okay.
Because I believe town of Newburgh is close to $90 an hour. I'm not saying to go that crazy.
So there's value to what you're saying. Is looking into the Walkill School District is not just the Plattekill Elementary School.
Right, you got Dale, middle school and high school.
So there is several different agencies that are contracted to perform the duties. So there's value to what you're saying for sure.
Yeah, I'm not saying to go look at what Elmira is paying, but we should definitely see what
Even
Walkill's paying for the other schools.
Even the high school, you're looking at the high school is one thing. Ostrander might be a little cheaper. I don't know for sure, but
it's definitely worth
it'd be worth looking into.
Okay.
I'm not saying we got to match anybody.
No,
but
understood.
If they're way higher than we are, we should definitely.
Understood. So, Councilor Castillo?
Well, I agree because we're still in negotiations and we don't know where that's going to lead us.
Understood. So let me do this.
We should table this.
Let me do this because it sounds like it's the flair of the board. I'm going to withdraw my motion, and I will entertain a motion to put this off for 2 weeks at our next board meeting. And please don't make me read this entire thing.
No.
Yeah, right. So what we will do is I'll entertain a motion to put this off till our next board meeting. What is that exact date, Sarah? Do you know?
April 2nd.
April 2nd?
I'll make a motion we hold off on the contract until April 2nd so we can look into what the other schools are paying.
Okay. So I have a motion on the floor to hold off on this contract with the Walkill School District so we can do a little research on what the other folks are receiving, and that'll also give us the opportunity to reach back out to our chief and his associate there to figure out what this would look like. So we have a motion on the floor with a second to hold off until April 2nd. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So carried. And that's how government works. So that was very good. Thank you.
Good job.
So,
Can we ask questions?
excuse me?
Can I ask questions?
Normally we won't do this because it's you.
okay.
We're going to allow you to ask a question.
I thank
Go right
you.
ahead.
No, I just wondered how many hours a day does the police officer have to be there? You're providing them with a car to get there and back.
Yep.
And
So I will tell you that I believe that they're there the entire time that the school is occupied by the children, and I do believe there may be previous time prior to that, and there may be time that they stay afterwards. The exact amount of time I do not know, but those are worthy questions that we can ask when we pursue, some kind of conclusion to this. I don't anticipate, having to draw it out. I think that it's fair to do what the board is desiring, to look at it realistically. Everything comes at a cost.
Right.
And unfortunately, we can look at it and say, it should be up here, and, realistically it should be here, someplace in the middle we can meet. In the end, it's taxpayers' money, but we also want to be able to cover the cost. We don't want it to cost the town money. We want it to break even or, a little bit above, just in case something happens. Cars break down, equipment breaks down, equipment has to be replaced. So I think there's value in that.
And I want to ask another question.
Yes.
Because most of the times officers don't shut the cars off, okay? Because they've got to be ready for takeoff. Is that the same thing with That's all, with the.
No, that-
I believe they would
Once that
shut
car's
it down
parked, it
only
stays.
7 hours. I don't think they leave
They
it
shut down
running.
when it's up there?
The only time
Our policy is 15 minutes idle time.
Yeah.
Okay,
I believe the
School
only
is shut
time.
down all day.
okay.
Yeah, I believe the only time it runs is when it's parked out on the road
Yeah.
when the buses are coming in and out.
Okay,
Correct.
yeah.
This way, the battery doesn't die with everything running on it.
And when the car is off, there's a charge guard in it. They're set at 30 minutes each car.
Okay, thank you.
So good to know. All right, so we have a letter from the Pentecostal Holy Joy Request Church. And I want to see if we can find this letter. More reading.
Yeah, but that's short.
So this letter that we did receive, it is from the Pentecostal Holy Joy Church of the Lord Incorporated, Post Office Box 111, 439 Freetown Highway, Modena, New York, 12548. Blah, blah, blah. March 7th, 2025. Now, this is the Pentecostal Holy Church of Lord Incorporated Park Rental Fee Waiver Request. To whom it may concern, thank you for confirming the rental of Thomas Felton Park on Sunday, June 7th, 2025. As we are a not-for-profit entity that has and continues to serve the Plattekill community and surrounding areas, we are requesting a waiver of the park fee as we celebrate our 65th church anniversary. We appreciate your consideration and look forward to hearing back from you. Please feel free to contact me via phone listed above or email if you have any questions or concerns. And this is sincerely Pastor Monique K. Newkirk. This is Senior Pastor, Pentecostal Holy Church of the Lord Incorporated. And it's also signed or CC'd to Trustee Sean Newkirk, Tamaya Parks, Nakia S. Harris Brown, Bob Ray Newkirk, and Adrian Brown. So what they are looking for is they have actually booked the park for, I believe it's a 50-year celebration. 65-year celebration for the church. Sarah, was there a number of individuals that were going to attend?
Congregation, I don't know how
So
big.
we don't know whether it's
I don't think
20 or 120. We really don't.
I don't think
There's
it'd be
another
20.
question here, the way this is worded.
Yeah.
Normally, it's the pavilion that's being rented. This says the park. I think under the assumption it's the whole park because you don't know how many people. But normally, it's for the pavilion and of course the playground. But because sometimes we have baseball and other people that are there, so the way this is worded, they're trying to. It suggests that they're renting the whole park, and that's not what we do.
So my question is, do we need more information on this? I'm kind of feeling that we do. Do we need to know the numbers that are going to be available? You know, at the end of the day, the old saying goes, there's no such thing as a free lunch. So when I say that, I don't say that with any disrespect. I do say that if there's 50 people, 75 people, that's one thing. If there's 200 people or 300 people, I don't know what those numbers are going to be, that there is a cost for toilet paper, paper towels, soaps, whatever, electric, and what have you. And we do not rent out the playground. We do not rent out the grounds outside of the pavilion.
That's right.
We only rent out the pavilion, and we give those folks the opportunity to utilize the counter in what we call the kitchen. There's a stainless steel counter in there. There's a refrigerator, a sink that they can wash up minimal utensils and what have you. But we're not really a cooking facility down there per se. We do not have any range down there. We don't have any microwave. We don't have any provisions for actually cooking. So that would be strictly for a rental of the pavilion and what we call the kitchen area. So it's a preparation area.
I live on Freetown Highway, and I've been neighbors with them forever. And whenever they do have something at the church on Freetown Highway, it does cause a little chaos with all the parked cars on the road.
And they're doing the right thing by...
And I'm saying that this
Well, that's not a parking lot either.
No, but follow me on this. That's at the church. Now, they are also, her aunt and everybody, and other members of their congregation have ties to Newburgh. And when they have a celebration, many churches come to support, especially when it's something like this. So there's garbage, bathroom, the facilities, and I'm sorry, I feel that there has to be a price on this of $100, and it should not be with.
So is there value to researching this to maybe get a little bit more accurate information?
Yes.
To see what the size of it would be?
Yes.
And to see what is actually going to take place, if their anticipation is, are they going to bring food in to serve? Is there anticipation, do they, I don't know that they have a question or that they have questioned. I did talk to Pastor Newkirk very briefly, and at the time I did talk to her a couple weeks back. She didn't have an idea on how many folks were there. Maybe they have a better idea, but I didn't talk to her about, are they going to cater it and have somebody come in? Are they going to not have food?
Well,
I don't know.
and the other question is, we have 2 bathrooms up there, and we have 1 porta-john. Do we have a lower one?
We do in the summertime, yes.
Okay.
That's quite a height.
Huh?
That's quite a height.
No, but what I'm saying is, and this is another thing, because of the pavilion, do we have in the facilities there, and we're not talking about Plattekill Day because we get a bunch of porta-johns, but the facility that we have right now, we should have a limit when you're renting out the pavilion. This way you're not taxing the whole
Doesn't
thing.
fail.
Yes.
Yeah, understood. So I will entertain a motion if the board feels there's value in postponing this and getting more information.
Make a motion to table this and get some more info.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor to table this until next meeting, get more information,
I'll second it.
and we have a second on the floor. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So carry. So I will reach out to her tomorrow and try to get some more information onto it. And I think it's an opportunity for her folks to be able to have a larger area, as you did allude to, that the
Yes,
traffic and
but
parking.
I don't want to tax
Understood.
ourselves.
Understood.
Well, and that's like the other thing, actually, today, I was going through some stuff with Sarah to look at past practice, so nothing comes back to bite us.
Yes. And what did you come up with?
Well, most of the places, Sarah, if I'm right,
We don't.
there's been not even a deposit, which there really should be, because if they make a mess, it's going to come back to the town to clean it up.
There should be some.
What are they going to do about garbage?
And you
Well,
have
that's what I'm saying, yes.
Right there.
That's a
Supposed to take
question
it
we're
with
going to have to.
Yeah, that's
So
fine.
here's something else we have to do down the road, is come up with a policy, the town board, so we have something else in place.
Yeah, we should have a limit when the amount of people, because you can have a wedding up there, don't get me wrong, but
We have
if it's going to be 200
we have a
people or 150 people, we should set the
What's the
limit
limit?
now
It's on the back of the form.
when we have that.
Oh, that's right, when you charge, right? Because there's different prices.
Yes.
Sir, do you have a copy of the retention and disposition resolution?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's 35. I thought I do have it.
Give me 30.
I've got so much stuff here. I want to make sure that I get this accurate. All right, so the next on the agenda is going to be the retention and disposition resolution. And this is going to read as follows. March 19th, 2025, the Town of Plattekill, Resolution Number 35 of 2025, adopting retention and disposition schedule for LGS-1. Resolution resolved by the Town Board of the Town of Plattekill that retention and disposition schedules for New York State Government Records, LGS-1, issued pursuant to Article 57A of the Arts and Cultural Affairs Law and continuing legal minimum retention period for local government records is hereby adopted for use by all officers in legally disposing of valueless records listed therein. Further be it resolved that in accordance with Article 57A and this is only those records will be disposed of that are described in retention and disposition schedule for New York local government records after they have met the minimum retention periods described therein. Only those records will be disposed of that will not have significant administrative, physical, legal, or historical value to merit retention beyond established legal minimum periods. So what this is, gentlemen, is a retention and disposition schedule. So this is basically what we have to adopt in order to dispose of items that are no longer needed, whether it be documents or photos or something in our archives that is taking up space that's deemed not useful. So it does give a provision that we can keep things that we feel are useful in our records beyond the date that's prescribed under that law, depending on the value that we put onto it. They may be historical records, they may be something, photos from the past or what have you, and we normally do that anyway. But what this is a legal documentation that we have to actually adhere to. So I will take a motion to accept the resolution number 35 or not accept it.
I make a motion, we accept it.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second to adopt resolution number 35 of 2025, adopting retention and disposition schedule for LGS-1. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So carried. And the next, we have another resolution. And this is a resolution number 36. Support Ulster County Resolution 102. So, for some reason, I am jobbled around here with this paperwork. Give me a moment. So I got number 36, but I want to make sure that I have the other one for Ulster County, because that's actually the one that's on here. Resolution to support Ulster County Resolution 102.
36.
So this is number 36. It's just kind of confusing when I read it. So this resolution number 36 of 2025, this is expressing support for Ulster County legislators' adoption of resolution number 102. That's where the confusion is. Establishing a policy to fund, facilitate, perpetuate, and support the augmentation and operations of local emergency medical services, EMS, in and for Ulster County of Ulster. So what this is, gentlemen and folks in the audience, this is a resolution that was put forth by one of our legislators, I want to say it's Cusack, put forth a resolution, and I'm going to read it. And it is a very, I think, powerful and good resolution, and there's a lot of merit to support this. All of our communities, ours definitely, our adjoining fire districts, Plattekill, Clintondale, and all the folks throughout the state are really, really hurting to get the volunteers out for EMS and fire. This is specifically EMS related, but I am going to read this resolution, and hopefully everybody will support this. So the date is March 19th, 2025. Whereas the provisions of emergency medical services, EMS, is essential to ensuring the health, safety, and well-being of the residents of the town of Shawangunk and Ulster County as a whole. So I said Shawangunk, but it's Plattekill, sorry. So the town of Plattekill and Ulster County as a whole. Whereas the town of Plattekill, along with other municipalities in Ulster County, faces increased operational cost in maintaining reliable EMS services, including personnel, training, equipment, and infrastructure. And whereas the recently released EMS service delivery report for Ulster County, New York, prepared by the Center for Public Safety Management, LLC, has identified significant challenges, including staffing shortages, increased response time, and financial instability among local EMS providers. And whereas proposed resolution number 102 establishes a policy to fund, facilitate, perpetuate, and support the augmentation and operation of local EMS in an amount not to exceed $5 million per annum, thereby providing much-needed financial relief and stability to municipal EMS services. And whereas resolution number 102 further mandates transparency and accountability by requiring that funds be used solely for EMS-related expenses, including staffing, training, equipment procurement, and operational cost, with annual reporting requirements to Ulster County Legislature. And whereas the Town Board of the Town of Plattekill recognizes that the sustainability and enhancement of EMS services are critical to public health and safety, and that resolution number 102 represents a proactive and physically responsible approach to addressing EMS challenges in Ulster County. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Plattekill hereby expresses its strong support for the Ulster County Legislature adoption of resolution number 102, and urges its full implementation to ensure continued availability of high-quality EMS services for all residents of Ulster County, and be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution shall be forwarded to the Ulster County Legislature, the Ulster County Executive, the Ulster County Department of Emergency Services, and any other relevant agencies as expressions of the Town of Plattekill support for sustained EMS funding and service enhancement within the county. And I will take that, and having read that, I will make a motion that we adopt this and encourage the board to support this fully.
I'll second it.
We have a motion on the floor and a second. Is there any questions, comments?
Nope.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? So carried. Thank you. I will sign that and get that right out. 2. So, the next thing we have is DARE. Excuse me, this is another great program that our police department here in Plattekill has been doing for many, many years. And I am sure that we have some graduates of this program in our audience as well. So March 12th, 2025, and this is from the DARE officer, Robert Riley. You and the town board are cordially invited to attend the Leppendale Elementary School DARE graduation. The ceremony will be held on Wednesday, March 26th at 7 p.m. in the school gymnasium. So let you guys know, as well as our town clerk, who I think is a graduate of that program. And I will let you folks know that on March 26th that we will be going down to the Leppendale Elementary School, a very, very worthy program to be a part of. And it is a very good event. Next, and looks like it is last, we have a driver's acknowledgement form. So this form that you guys received in your mailbox is basically a kind of a draft, so to speak. And what this is this is a acknowledgement form, and this is going to cover the folks that utilize our town vehicles. And basically, it just gives the opportunity for a name, signature, driver's license, license expiration date, and date of declaration. And basically, it says here, in a nutshell, I acknowledge that the information contained in the Town of Plattekill Handbook Vehicle Policy has been reviewed by me. As a driver of the Town of Plattekill vehicle, I understand that it is my responsibility to operate the vehicle in a safe manner and to drive defensively to prevent injuries and property damage. I also acknowledge that as an employee, it is required to possess a valid New York State driver's license and must maintain a valid license throughout employment. Proof of such will be on file with the town, and I consent to release of my motor vehicle records, MVR, to the Town of Plattekill, and I understand that the Town of Plattekill will use these records to evaluate, and this consent is given in satisfaction of Public Law 18 U.S.C. 2721 at SEQ, Federal Driver's Privacy Protection Act, and is intended to constitute written consent as required by this act. So this is basically just a form so we can have the records of the drivers to make sure that on the vehicles that they are legally able to drive and control these vehicles. So that is a form that I am presenting to you guys, and have you taken the opportunity to look at that form and study that form?
I looked at it, it looks sweet.
Okay. Comments from Councilman Fazio?
Nope.
All good? And Councilman Hoppenstead?
No, I think it's all good.
Okay. Thank you very much. And do you want to make a motion, somebody, to
Make a motion that we use
move
this
forward
form.
with that form? Okay, so we have a motion on the floor to move forward.
Second that motion.
And we have a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So carried. At this time, I would like to ask Councilman Hoppestead, any questions, comments, concerns? Councilman Fazio?
Yes. Looking in the paper, I noticed Town of Lloyd, they've gotten together and they do their tri-board meeting. And I'm
Yes.
like, that might be a good idea, town board, planning board, zoning board, get together,
I think
so.
that's a fantastic idea.
And their big thing was, they just did a new comprehensive plan too. We're working on it, so
I
bring
think that's-
everybody up to speed.
I think that that's a fantastic, fantastic,
We do it 4 times a year.
yeah, quarterly. And I think that there's a lot of value in that.
Looking for one first.
Well, I think there's a lot of value in that. So what do you think about that?
I think we should do it.
I think so too. I don't think we need to do it in the form of a motion. I think we just need to go ahead and move forward with it. So I will work with you to schedule that and make that happen in the near future. So that's very good. Thank you for that. Anything else?
Yes.
Well, I was going to get to you. Is there anything else?
No.
Okay. To you.
The person, Mr. Covino left, and I want to clarify something. This town, people that work here, there's not one person that speaks Spanish. So when I was approached, it was not a violation, it was concern that something was going. I went up there and I talked to the person because I am bilingual, and the other person that was with me is the same. When I was putting in and changing things in here, many times people come to the court first, and I've been asked to interpret. And I know that we're hiring an assistant clerk, and I know that, I believe you put that in there, that there will be,
We'll try.
and
Try.
I know that we give a lot of respect to people that are here. If we give facts is one thing, their truth, but the sarcastic part of it is not necessary for us to listen to. We try to show respect to everyone. I think we do show respect to everyone, and we should have it in return. That's all.
Okay. Okay, that being said, I would like to make a motion to approve the vouchers. I will make a motion to approve the voucher detail report dated March 19, 2025, which includes the A General Fund in the amount of $42,678.75, the DA Highway Fund in the amount of $31,085.75, the H4 miscellaneous supplies and items in the amount of $45,211.88, the Clintondale Lighting District in the amount of $959.36, the Modena Lighting District in the amount of $1,742.98. This will be for a grand total in the amount of $121,678.72, recognizing that the Audit Committee has reviewed the claims and found them acceptable for payment. So that is my motion.
I will second that motion.
We have a motion on the floor with a second to pay the bills. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So carried. Okay, I will entertain a motion to adjourn unless you folks don't want to go home.
Motion adjourned.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor to adjourn with a second by Councilman Castillo. All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
So carried. The ayes have it.
Be that guy.